Karuna
Sharakaya
Chakshurunmalatam
Chakshurunmilitam
Yena Tasmai
Tasmai
Shri
Shri.
Karave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with a shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
So, continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 10, entitled The Opulence of the Absolute, text 2. So, just to recap on text 1. So, yeah, first text of the chapter, Krishna is saying here why he's speaking to Arjuna. So, why he's talking to Arjuna and not Duryodhana or not to Dhritarashtra or any other person, because he's a friend. And he's saying, because you're my dear friend. So, and that's natural, who are we going to reveal our innermost secrets to?
Someone we
To a
can
stranger?
trust.
Would you tell a stranger
No,
all your
no,
inner secrets? No,
someone
only
we
a friend.
trust.
Someone we trust, which is like a friend, someone that you trust, someone that you know them very well, they know you very
But
well.
then
And
Krishna
then,
doesn't know Yudhishthira or Nakul and Sahadev or Bhima. Krishna doesn't know them. Of course he does.
yeah, of course he does. But Arjuna is even more intimate friend.
His
They're
favorite.
they're all devotees, of course.
Okay.
And there are other places where there is other places like in Bhagavatam when Krishna is speaking to Yudhisthira. So Krishna also had conversation with Yudhisthira and so forth like that. But yeah, Arjuna is very intimate friend, Sakka, very intimate friend. And also, interestingly, friend normally means around the same age, right? Around the same age. Normally, your friend is around the same age.
But
So
if
Krishna
if
actually just, I mean, of course, Krishna's eternal and the soul's eternal and everything. But in terms of how long they've been in the material world at that time, they were roughly around the same age. Roughly
okay,
around the same age. Whereas Yudhisthira is older
yeah.
and Bhima is older and Nakula and Sahadeva younger. Nakula Sahadev younger than Krishna. Bhima and Yudhisthira older than Krishna, but Arjuna is about the same age as Krishna.
But then if that's the case, then Sudama was a friend too, but he didn't tell Sudama.
Yeah, but
Sudama
they would
was
have had
his.
other conversations very intimately and everything at different times. But the point is, that Krishna's speaking all this confidential knowledge about himself to Arjuna. Why? Because he's a friend of Krishna. It means he's a very trusted, confidential friend. He can give all of his, innermost secrets and everything to tell him to Arjuna because he's a friend. So if someone's not means someone that's not a devotee, they're not going to find out this knowledge like that. Like you mentioned, this policeman is an atheist. So for them, very hard to understand because they don't have faith in God. So God is not going to be able to reveal himself to that person. But you are helping to prepare the ground so
But
that slowly,
but in
slowly.
if anyone come in your class, you happy to give it this knowledge for Krishna and like the Bhagavad Gita and all that. You don't say that because you're not my friend, you're my friend. Anyone come in the class, you can just give it a class to anyone. You don't
Yeah,
really choose
yeah,
because you
yeah,
even if it's a
yeah,
friend or not a friend, even atheist
yeah,
sit down, you give it a class.
yeah. But you wouldn't speak the very high knowledge to them. You understand? You'd speak basic stuff. You're not the body, you're a spirit soul, about karma, about reincarnation, everything. You wouldn't talk about Krishna's pastimes, lifting like Govardhan Hill, you mentioned, stuff like that.
Slowly,
I
slowly,
mean,
if they're
well,
getting
like
a
like like one
senior,
time, I'll give you an example. One time we went to a nearby town to a Rath Yatra, and two atheist Kiwis came there, just happened to be there, and they asked me, "What's this about? What's this festival about?" So I explained that. It's about, Krishna was on this earth 5,000 years ago, and he had come with his family to a holy place named Kurukshetra during the time of an eclipse. They had come from this place, Dwaraka, to Kurukshetra, and also from another place, Vrindavan. Some of Krishna's friends and family came from Vrindavan and they were meeting up at Kurukshetra. So this festival is about them all this meeting up after a long separation, and they're so happy to see each other and everything like that. It's a very joyful festival. And I could just see when I was explaining that they weren't interested. They weren't interested at all. It didn't mean anything to them. And you could see they were thinking this is like some kind of mythology, some kind of fairy tale. They didn't really accept that what I'm talking is just a historic event that took place. They were thinking it's just sort of some fairy tale thing. And I could tell they were impatient to go and do something else. They didn't really want to hear what I was saying. So yeah, if someone doesn't have any faith in Krishna and any devotion for Krishna, then it's all going to go over their head. And, even on one side, they just wouldn't be interested and they'll be bored. On the other side, they might make offenses. They might get angry, or they might give some insult or something like that. So yeah, it's yeah, yeah. So Giant is saying it's the ninth offense for the holy name to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. So yeah, if someone doesn't have any faith, there's no real value. So, Krishna's chosen Arjuna to speak to because he has so much faith and devotion in Krishna. And like I said, it's natural. I mean, if someone asks me, you know, to tell me all my personal information, I'm not going to tell it to a stranger. I'm not going to give my bank account details and password to this and that or whatever, to a complete stranger. I wouldn't do that. So, but you tell it to a friend, you wouldn't have any problem telling it to someone that you trust. So just like we do that too, we only reveal our personal information to someone we trust. So Krishna is also doing like that. That's very natural. And then it's also saying here that he's going to give knowledge that's even more better than what he's explained before. The knowledge is even more better. And just the last paragraph, it's only a short purport for that text one, but the last paragraph is very important. We can read that again, and you can read that.
The more one hear about the Supreme God, the more one become fixed in the devotion service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotee. That will enhance one's devotion service. Discourse in the society of devotee can take place only among those who are really anxious to be a Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part in such disclosures. The Lord clearly tells discourses, the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place.
Yeah, so Prabhupada's confirming just what we said,
Yeah.
That, others cannot take part in such discourses. And I've seen that, if someone doesn't have any bhakti, any devotion, they're not going to be interested. They're not going to be interested.
What happened? Like my daughter is very dear to me, and if I tell anything about the bhakti, just nothing happens. But she's very dear to me. I want to tell her because she's dear to me. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
I try to say, this is the one, this one here. Yeah. And I can see the body language just listening but not hearing.
Yeah, not hearing. Yeah.
That's right. Anyway. But,
yeah.
So I just tell everyone, I just staying with that the lady there. I tell her as well. Even I took that police officer. I tell her as well. This is the Supreme Personality God. Like whatever the knowledge I've got learned from you, I just tell. I don't really see who's dear to me, who's not dear to me. I just spread.
I know. Yeah. But like Prabhupada's saying here, discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness.
That's
Others
right.
cannot take part. So you see that unless you have some interest, you're really eager. Anxious means like, you're very enthusiastic, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of
Yeah.
eagerness. I want to find out the truth. I want to understand who God is. I want to know why I'm suffering and how to get free from suffering, like that. So unless there's that kind of eagerness to understand what is the truth and everything, then it's going to not go so well.
But
Of
I think,
course, like you said, we preach to everyone, but
yeah.
also we're not expecting that 100% of the people we preach to are going to take up
Wow.
to
Oh,
it straight away. But you
our
just have to,
expectation is nothing. You don't expect anything. Just
yeah,
whoever
yeah, yeah,
comes,
yeah,
comes.
yeah,
If I
yeah,
take 100 people, out of 100 people, 2 or 3 people regular, and 97
yeah,
doesn't, okay. If it's a
yeah,
50% come, okay. 70% come, okay. Or no
yeah,
one will come, okay.
yeah,
I still will take the people no matter what. And whoever clicks it, clicks it. If it
yeah,
doesn't click, it's up to the Krishna.
yeah,
And then if he's like, the enthusiastic or not, maybe not now, maybe after a year he might come, okay.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
taken to the places like that, it's a
Hmm.
great thing.
So, I mean, we tell basic stuff to everyone, take
Yeah,
take this, eat this food, prasadam, chant Hare Krishna and so forth, come to the temple. But here, Krishna's telling a lot of really detailed personal information to Arjuna. So, you're not going to offload the full picture to
no,
someone that doesn't have any interest, obviously. So that's
uh-huh.
what we're talking about here. If you want to get the full offload, Krishna's going to download all the information to you is only if you're a devotee, that's,
Yeah,
very dear friend like that. It
true.
was basic stuff we can tell everyone. Yeah, that's all
Oh
good.
yeah,
Chant and be
right.
happy. Like we say, chant and be happy.
Can
That
be
we
happy.
can tell everyone that. That everyone will like our food and chant and
Yeah,
be happy.
I
But
just
not
say like
everyone will be able to hear this, that
yeah.
Krishna is the source of everything and everyone should surrender to him.
Eventually, like I said, dancing, chanting, feasting. You do these 3 things, let Krishna will take care of the rest. Because Krishna will
Yeah,
give you understanding to come,
yeah,
ask you to come again. Then the second time you come, chanting, feasting, dancing, you do service, then you will buy one book. And slowly, you will,
yeah,
Krishna will do the rest part.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
And Prabhupada's revealing in this purport how the Krishna consciousness is going to develop. And Prabhupada's
yeah,
saying there, the more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. So Shravanam hearing is very important. That's the 9 processes. Number one
yeah,
is Shravanam. We have
yeah,
to hear. And that's why we have this soul searching going on, ever since I came to Australia, to give people an opportunity to hear about the Supreme God, to hear and become and we see, people, like like you've been regular with the hearing and Bhakti Mala and like that and Narendra, and you can see those persons that have taken the hearing more seriously, more regularly, they're the ones more fixed in devotional service. So you can see how it works. Those people that like to hear, those are the ones that become more fixed up in devotional service. And you'll see those are the ones that chant more. So the ones that hear more, they're the ones that chant more. They're the ones that, take more care in preparing prasadam and eating prasadam, and all the other things come. But the foundation is that those persons that take it seriously to hear more about Krishna, and you see all the other things, they automatically follow if the hearing is there. And those that didn't take much interest in hearing, you see they haven't really developed in the other areas also, didn't come very strong in devotional service. And Prabhupada also mentions that hearing about the Lord should take place in the association of devotees. So you can't hear about Krishna without that association of devotees. It's not going to be very effective. So in the association of devotees, then that's going to be very effective, you know. And then Prabhupada mentions, even in the society of devotees, so you're talking only about devotees now, we're not talking about non-devotees, we're talking about devotees, but then is saying Discourses in the Society of Devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. So what is he saying that? Does that mean that some devotees are not really anxious to be Krishna conscious? And actually it's true that not all devotees are really serious about Krishna consciousness. Some maybe they just like going along to sing and dance, once a week or something, or take prasadam on Sunday feast, but they're not really anxious to become, fully surrendered to Krishna, fully Krishna conscious, anxious to go back to Godhead in this lifetime. They're we call them like fringe devotees. They're referred to as fringe devotees. But the way we were trained as brahmacharis is that you should try to be in the fire of Krishna consciousness. That was an example, analogy given. Really get in the fire. Like you could be on the edge of the fire, like a spark, but you actually want to be right in the fire and you get red hot. So the idea is, you become red hot right in the fire. Because if the spark, as you know, gets thrown out of the main fire, then it can die out, right? That if the piece of wood flies out of the fire, it can eventually just become cold and go out. So we want to be right in the fire. Does that make sense? It means to take Krishna consciousness very seriously. Hearing regularly, chanting regularly, take prasadam regularly, associate with devotees regularly, then you advance more faster in devotional service. Whereas just every now and again, sometimes if I feel like it, I chant a bit, if I feel like it, and if I want to go to the temple, I feel like it, and like that's, and just every now and again, then very slowly, the person will make progress, not very quickly. But so it's interesting Prabhupada's saying here that even in the society of devotees, but the hearing is going to be most effective amongst those devotees that are anxious to be Krishna conscious. And so yeah, it's not automatic, and that all the devotees are going to have that same mood of being really anxious to be Krishna conscious. And then you might also say, well, I didn't think people might say, I didn't think that to be, because anxious means like anxiety, right? So people think that spiritual life means real peaceful, you're really peaceful, and there's no kind of anxiety. Here it's sort of indicating that there needs to be some kind of anxiety. So material anxiety is really bad, people are in stress and anxiety all the time, like at Gloria Jean's, right? It would have been a lot of material stress and anxiety and so forth. But when Prabhupada's talking about how a devotee needs to be in anxiety, that's a different kind of anxiety. It's like spiritual anxiety. And Prabhupada gives very interesting examples. He says like when Krishna would go to the forest to herd the cows during the day, Mother Yashoda would be in anxiety that Krishna's feet are so soft, all the sharp stones in the forest and sticks might hurt his soft feet. And she's also in anxiety that what if a demon comes and attacks Krishna? Krishna might get hurt or killed like that. So Prabhupada mentions how a devotee also can be in anxiety, but it's in relationship with Krishna, that anxiety. It's not a material anxiety, it's a spiritual anxiety. And Prabhupada also mentions like a book distributor is an anxiety that I wish I could distribute more books. I'm not distributing enough books. I want to distribute more books. So that's also a kind of anxiety. Or, we want to distribute more prasadam from the bhakti tree. There's only, X number of people coming every week. And I wish we could have twice as many come or three times as many come. So that's a kind of anxiety. But the difference is that anxiety is in relationship with Krishna. It's not just centered around my own sense gratification, but it's centered around Krishna. And with that kind of, pressure where creating ourself, that pushes us more faster in Krishna consciousness. If that anxiety is not there, then yeah, the progress is not going to be very fast. Does that make sense? You want to say anything about that?
That's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, we should be a little bit selective, even in the society of devotees. We should be a bit selective about the devotees we associate with, and we should try to associate with other devotees that are also they're eager or anxious to, progress more in Krishna consciousness. And because obviously, even in the devotee society, there's different motivations there. Some people have different motivations. So we should try to associate with those that are friendly to everyone, of course, but to, closely associate and hear from those devotees that are, very serious about Krishna consciousness. That will help us the most, like that. Strict devotees. Okay, so let's read the verse 2. Bhakti Mala said she was going to join in. I don't know what happened to her. Anyway, hope the best for her. It doesn't matter. It's all right. Name vidu suragana
Namai Vidu Suragana
prabhavam namaharisaya
Prabhavam Namaharashya
ahammadirhi devanam
Aham Dihi Devanam
maharisinam chasavasha.
Maharishinam Cha Sarvasha. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages.
I'm just wondering, did we read this verse before?
You say one?
I know, I definitely we did one. I'm just wondering if we read this one as well. Anyway, there's no harm in talking more about it. But I think we did. I have it
I did,
vaguely in my
yeah.
mind. But we
Yeah.
didn't speak last week. That's why it's
No,
not clear in
was
my
it?
mind. You think we did too?
Yeah, by the look like it, Bhaktimala started to read that as stated in Brahma Samhita. I remember that
You remember
because
that? Okay.
Because
Okay.
Brahma Samhita, she can't exactly the pronunciation. I
Oh yeah.
remember that. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how far
Anyway,
she
we'll
went, the
just we'll
whole
just
purport.
summarize this. We'll
Yeah.
read text 3, but we'll just summarize this. So, because I remember I had asked you that how is it that even great demigods and sages, how they can't understand Krishna?
Yeah.
And the answer was that because Krishna was existing before anybody else. He was existing before anyone else. Therefore, it's very hard to understand Krishna because he was already there when we came along. Just like Just like, do you know a lot about your great 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 grandfather? No, we don't, because they were existing, way before we came along. So we weren't there at the time, so we don't really know much about them, but we know about our children because they came into existence after us, right? But you're not going to know about those things that came before you. You know about the things that came after you, but not before. So in the same way that he's the source of the demigods, he's the source of the great sages, but so they don't know him because they all come from Krishna, but Krishna was existing before they existed. So they don't know him. And Krishna's also not only that the demigods and sages don't know Krishna, but Krishna's saying in this verse that he's the source of all the demigods and the great sages like that. So Krishna is the original person. He was existing before even the demigods existed, before the great sages existed. Krishna was existing. Aham adir hi devanam. So aham means I, adir means the origin, and of the devanam, the demigods, and maharishi means the great sages. So he's the source, the origin of all of them. And I heard Prabhupada say that the other day that someone asked Prabhupada, you're saying that Krishna is the source of everything, and the person asked, where does Krishna come from? He's the source of everything, but where does Krishna come from? But no, he doesn't have a source. That's the definition of Krishna. Krishna is that person that does not have an origin. He's the origin of everything else, but he doesn't have an origin. That is part of the definition of God. God is that person that doesn't have an origin. He's the original person from which all other persons come from. Which is hard for us to understand because in our experience, everything has a source or an origin. But Krishna is that person that doesn't have an origin, doesn't have a source. Krishna has always existed, and he is the source and origin of everything else, but he has no origin. And that is God. Okay, so let's look at text 3. We can read the verse for that one. Yo mamajamanadim cha
Yomam Jaman Nadinincha
veti loka maheshwaram
Vaiti Loka Maheshwaram
asamudha samartyesu
Samudha Samasteshu
sarva papai pramuchyate.
Sarva Pape Pramushtate. He who know me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as Supreme Lord of all the worlds, the only undiluted among men, is freed from all sins.
So going by this, anyone that doesn't know that Krishna is unborn, beginningless, the Supreme Lord of everything, is sinful. So
It should be a word endless too. You know, endless. There's no end. It's no beginning, no end.
well, that's probably not necessary to mention because anything that doesn't have a beginning, that also includes not having an end.
End. Yeah, of course.
That's take it for granted that no beginning means no, because anything that has a beginning, you don't, that also is included, it has an end.
Definitely.
You know, so if it has a beginning, it has an end. If it doesn't have
end.
a beginning, it doesn't have an end. Yeah, so not necessary to mention it doesn't have an, it's endless. Yeah. So this is letting us know that forgetfulness of God is the original sin. That's the original sin. And of course, meat eating is sinful, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, all these things are sinful. But the original sin is to forget God. And because we've forgotten God, then we engage in more sinful activities, like I said, meat eating, intoxication, and so forth. But the original sin is this forgetfulness of God. And Krishna's saying here that that only those persons that understand that Krishna is God, that he's beginningless and unborn, only those persons are sinless. So everyone else is sinful to forget their relationship with God. It's like if you're living under the protection and maintenance of your parents, and they're providing everything for you, and you ignore them, then what kind of life is that?
No, very good, because if you ignore them, you're not appreciating them. That's to disappoint them.
Yeah, that's we call that a spoilt brat in English. We call that a spoilt brat, and we call that ungrateful.
But
Ungrateful.
that's why the bread is spoiled.
Oh, Brett. Yeah, yeah. Not
I'll
Brett,
tell him.
Brett. I know, I
Well,
know.
same thing. I'll tell him.
Yeah.
Bread, you're spoiled because Abhay Prabhu say you're spoiled.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm, mm. Yeah. But the point is that forgetfulness of God is sinful also. It's sinful. To forget God is sinful. Oh, definitely. Oh, how can you? Yeah. Yeah.
But if somebody born in the atheist family, he don't know forgetful of God because he born in the atheist family. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but just saying, just pleading that you're ignorant, yeah, there's
yeah,
no excuse. Like if you go to Australia and you drive on the wrong side of the road on the right
yeah,
because you
yeah.
come from America and you cause an accident or something, you can't use that as an excuse in the court that you didn't know that, you're driving on the wrong side because in the US you drive on that side. But the judge is not going to accept that. It's just that you're ignorant. You committed a crime that's sinful like that. So you can't use that as an excuse. If you're in a human body, it's expected you have to find out about God because that's the purpose of the human body. This human body is made for that purpose.
Yeah.
The animal bodies
Animal
are
can't
not
do
made for
that.
that purpose. They can't know God. But a human being's expected that, you have to become civilized and understand about God. We've got that brain. Our brain is wired, to ask these questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Why am I suffering? What is there a God? What is God? Everything, my relationship with God. So if you don't do that, then that's sinful. That's sinful. So, and but even the animals or whatever, they can't understand God, and the plants and the birds and that. But here she is. Um, just say hello to her. Hey, Bhakti
Hare
Mala.
Krishna.
How
So
you
Hare
doing?
Krishna.
sorry.
That's
Hare
okay.
Krishna. So
Hare
sorry. I
Krishna.
had I had an important phone call that just came as soon as class was meant to start. So
Oh, no worries. That's all
sorry.
right.
Yeah.
Just have to go with the flow. Yeah, so we're just
Yes.
looking at we just started reading text 3, Bhakti Mala, of the 10th chapter,
Yeah.
text 3. And yeah, we're just talking about so even not only the human beings that don't try to revive their God consciousness are sinful, but even the animals and birds and plants, they can't obviously become Krishna conscious, but they're also sinful. And we might say, but they don't have any choice to come out of that. So how can they still be sort of blamed for that and punished for that? But yeah, they can, because see, in the beginning, we were a pure spirit soul that had free choice. And then we misused that free choice. And as a result of misusing that free choice, we've fallen down into this, rotten material world and stuck in the body of animals and birds and plants and human bodies and so forth. So So yeah, this is the punishment, for turning away from God, for turning away from God. So yeah, that all the species of life is sinful, but in human life is the only. This is the only glimmer, glimmer of hope to get out of this sinful life. This is the only glimmer of hope to get out of the sinful life. So this is a little crack, in the prison wall. This is a little crack in the prison wall that we can break out. But yeah, that we're all stuck in this, sinful material world. This is all full of sinful living entities that have rebelled against their supreme father and mother. We've turned away from God, and that's sinful. To turn away from, because what is the purpose, the function of the soul? Why did Krishna expand himself into us? To do what? What? Just for fun? Did he just
No,
expand himself
to
into all of us just for a buzz,
to
just to experiment?
experience it and learn it, and for the reason, that is the reason we come as a human body, to learn and experience that, and where we come from and what's the ultimate
No, but
purpose of
forget
the
about the
life.
material body. No, forget about that for a minute. But why did Krishna expand himself into all of us tiny individual souls? Why did he do that? Is it just for fun, or is there a purpose why he's expanded himself into us?
Have a relationship with
You have a
us.
relationship with him. And in that relationship means a loving relationship, and love means service, so that we would serve him. So he's expanded himself into all of us individual souls with the idea that we would enter into a loving relationship, and we'll serve him and he'll serve us too, and he still does, even though we've turned away from him. He's providing the food and the shelter and the water and the air and the sun and everything, the body and all these things. So, but we've completely turned away. We don't want to do anything for God. So that's sinful. We're going against our purpose. We've turned, completely rebelled against our purpose. Just like any citizen in a country, if you go against the government, then that's like sinful, isn't it? And I mean, we're just talking about the principle of it. I don't agree with most governments should be rebelled against because they're so corrupt. Most governments are so corrupt they should be rebelled against. But just talking about if there was a decent government, then you should follow them. Otherwise, you're like a sinful, a rebellious citizen like that. So. So yeah, we're all entered into that. So we're all sinful and like that. This is what the verse is saying. If you don't know God, this verse is saying, if you don't know God, then you're sinful. If you don't know that God is unborn and beginningless, and the what does it say? The Lord of all the worlds, then that's sinful. And only those that know those things, only those that know what do you have to know to be sinless? So here it's saying what you have to know to be sinless is that God is unborn and beginningless, and he's the Lord of all the worlds like that. And then only those persons are sinful. So obviously only in the soul in the human form can know those things. Obviously in other species are not going to be able to know that. So they have no chance of getting out of their sinful life until they reach the human form through the evolution of the soul. Reincarnating will eventually reach that human form, and then there's an opportunity to become sinless like that. There are rare exceptions, like you're an animal or something living in the around the house of a devotee, and the devotee throws you some prasadam in your animal body or whatever. Like Simha is getting some prasadam, and Vajra today we gave him some leftover rice and chickpea sabji, so he got some prasadam today. So they have it there also by the mercy of the devotees, getting an opportunity to become sinless. But otherwise, there's sort of no way out for the lower species. And as we know, most human beings are still sinful. They don't have any attraction for hearing about God or like that. And it's
And
not a
to just
permanent
know
situation. What's that?
To just know these three things, you become sinless.
Yeah, this is what Krishna's saying.
Wow.
This is what Krishna's saying. But
Amazing.
that would see, knowing it doesn't just mean it goes in one ear out the other. Knowing it means you actually live according to what you know. So you apply that. It's called vigyan, or you actually you realize it through applying that knowledge. It's like practical. So there's theoretical knowledge, right? And then you have practical knowledge. So and then that's, the whole scientific process. You have a theory, and then you make an experiment, and then you get a result. So the result is like, that's the realized knowledge. So we theoretically know what we need to understand, that God is unborn and beginningless and the Lord of everything. But now we need to live by that knowledge. We need to live by that knowledge. And if we dedicate ourselves to Krishna, that by chanting Hare Krishna and so forth, serving Krishna, whatever way we can, spreading Krishna consciousness, then that's indicating that we do know it. We do know it. And because if you say, oh, I know this, and you go back to drinking beer and smoking marijuana, well, then you don't really know it, because the penny hasn't dropped. So how do we know where the penny's actually dropped? Is when you actually transform your life. It's like all of us, right? We changed our ways. We changed our ways. From the meat eating and drinking and wasting our life just running around after money, trying to be greedy for money, wanting more and more and everything like that. So we've changed that, so that means we've had some realization. It's not just theoretical. And but there's a lot of people that sort of, they might have heard this, but they don't take it any further. So yeah, to actually become sinless, you not only have to hear it, but then you take it into your heart, and you apply that in your life, and then you're actually sinless. Then you're actually sinless. Yeah. 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 And that's a fact, because then we see the devotees, once they have accepted this knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I'm his eternal servant, when that has registered, and then you start to take up devotional service, chanting 16 rounds a day and follow the four regulated principles, then it's obvious you're sinless, because then you've stopped all the four sinful activities, have all been stopped like that. So it's just a matter of time, and then you actually do become, fully sinless by all your behavior is changed and everything. And can you come closer? Because then I have to go and repeat it all again. You're making it hard for me. Can you hear what she's saying? No, they can't hear. So it's good for you, but it's not good for them. And it's not good for me. She's being sinful. She's being sinful. She's going to kick me.
What are you saying, Jayanti?
Saying the aspect of Krishna being unborn and beginningless is not something you would think about on a daily basis, because it's a bit difficult to relate to unborn or beginningless. I mean, I'm just saying this from my own experience. I mean, a lot of the words, okay, I can relate to that. Okay, Krishna is the supreme, he's the most greatest, okay, but yeah, okay, he's unborn, he's beginningless, okay,
Yeah.
it's like maybe he is, or maybe
Yeah.
he's in whatever,
Yeah.
that's the way I feel. and to make those points as being important points for being sinless, my question is really, that's a bit far out.
Yeah. So what I would say, good question. What I would say is we need to understand that Krishna's God, and then what is the definition of God? So this is part of the definition of God. God is that person that has no beginning. God is that person that doesn't have a birth. God is that person that's the Lord and master controller of everything else. We'll be coming to that in the 8th verse of this chapter, that he says, Aham Savasya Prabhava, that I'm the source of the spiritual material worlds. Everything emanates from me. So basically, it's saying that we have to know that Krishna is God to become sinless. Now, this is some more detail about what God is. God is that person, like I said, that doesn't have a birth, has no beginning, and is the Lord of everything, like that. So it doesn't mean it has to be rattling around your brain every 2 seconds that Krishna's unborn, Krishna's unborn, Krishna's unborn, Krishna's unborn. He's beginningless, he's beginningless. But yeah, that's sort of the automatically part of the definition of that Krishna's God. Does that make sense? You happy with that, Jayanti? Anadir Adir Govinda. Yeah, so Jayanti's pointing out from the Brahma Samhita, the famous verse there. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Savakarana Karanam. So Ishvara Parama Krishna. So there's many Ishvaras, means controllers, but there's only one supreme controller, Parama. Parama means supreme. Ishvara is controller. Because you could say that there's 330 million demigods and they're all Ishvaras, right? So there's 330 million Ishvaras. Even you can take it even further than that. Say I'm the Ishvara of this house. I mean, Jayanti thinks she's the Ishvara, the controller. And someone's the Ishvara of Australia, someone's the Ishvara of New Zealand, someone's the Ishvara of the rugby club, the soccer club, and so forth, like that. So, there's so many controllers, but there's only one supreme controller, right? And that's Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Satchidananda Vigraha. So Krishna has a form, Vigraha, which is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Vigraha. Eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. And then it says, Anadir, Anadir. So Adi means beginning, Anadi means no beginning. So that's what it says here, that he has no beginning. And Adir, that he is the beginning of everything else. So he doesn't have a beginning, but he's the beginning of everyone else. Who is that person that has no beginning and the beginning of everyone else? Govinda. So it's another name. If you go to Jagannath Puri, if you're in the queue to go in Jagannath Puri, oh no, I was thinking, no, not Jagannath Puri also, but in South India there's a temple, famous temple, Venkateshwar Balaji. And when they're all lining up for hours to get darshan of Balaji for a few seconds, they're all singing, Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. It's really ecstatic hearing all these people just calling out so ecstatically, Govinda, like that. So yeah, this is Govinda, who has no beginning and is the beginning of everything. And then Sava Karana Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. Karana means cause, so he's the cause of all causes.
Govinda, Govinda.
Yeah, Govinda.
That's how they
Yeah, go, long go. Govinda.
I
And
can't
then,
I can't say loud, otherwise I'll be kicked out.
I know, and they'll kick you out of the library. They'll say, go, Gulshan. Go, Gulshan. Come on, go. And then just like you could say that the cause of the universe, you know what that is? What's the cause of this universe being able to exist? The immediate cause.
Mahavishnu breathing.
No.
Of the
What's the
material world, you mean?
Yeah, the immediate cause of the universe being able to exist right now. What's the one thing that's essential for life to exist in the universe, us all to exist in this universe right now, the immediate cause.
Immediate course is just to get the class. If it doesn't exist, I won't get the class.
If we wouldn't exist, if we didn't have air.
Yeah, true. The air is important, but actually the ultimate
Question I
the ultimate
understand.
what's the immediate cause of life existing in the universe? The cause of life being able to exist in the universe
The super
right now.
soul.
No,
Krishna.
that's not the
No.
immediate cause.
What did she say?
I don't
The super
know.
soul. That's not the immediate cause. That's the
Krishna
remote cause.
dancing over material nature.
No, that's the remote cause. You've got a remote cause and the immediate cause. The immediate cause is
You
the
tell
sun.
us.
As the sun. So the immediate cause, and that's what the scientists would say. The sun is the cause of all life in the universe. But then Krishna is the cause of the sun. But you can't see that. All we see is the sun. But we don't know that
we are sinless. We are
behind
all
the
assuming
sun,
it's Krishna.
behind the sun, Krishna's there. And you said super soul, or she said Mahavishnu. So same diff. So Krishna's behind the sun, like that. So he's the cause of all causes. You know what I'm saying? So we might say, no, my cause is my parents. But okay, then we would say, but the cause of your parents was someone else, and the cause of them was someone else. Go back, Brahma. Go back, who's the cause of Brahma? Then you have, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Who's the cause of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu? Sankarshan. Who's the cause of Sankarshan? Balaram. Who's the cause of Balaram? Krishna. Who's the cause of Krishna? Nobody. So that's you've got to the original. So he's the cause of all causes. So you get what I mean by the cause of all causes? So we have a cause, and then that thing that caused us has a cause, and then cause. And originally go right back to the original cause of all other causes, and that's Krishna. Then you've found the source and no beginning. The beginning of everything, having no
It
beginning.
just reminds me, somebody had shared this. So the Stephen Hawking, he's a very famous scientist kind of.
The guy handicapped in a wheelchair. Yeah.
And he today so he said this, that the universe has a way of just creating itself, and so it shows how rascal, like Prabhupada says,
Just
right?
dodging.
Yeah.
Dodging Krishna.
Yeah, and he's saying that it just has it's its own cause. Like, that's what he's meaning.
Yeah.
That it's its own cause.
So just avoiding to surrender to God. Yeah, they'll say anything to avoid. The scientists.
But he's suffering in such a
Well, I
suffering.
think he's already dead. I think he
I
died a long time
know,
ago.
but during his lifetime, he was suffering.
This was a scientist that was like fully handicapped in a wheelchair, but he was a full-on atheist, and he doesn't realize, like this verse is saying, he's sinful. He doesn't realize as a result of his sinful reactions, he's being punished, that he's in a wheelchair for pretty much his whole life. His brain was working very well. He's a very intelligent scientist, but he's misused his brain by just promoting more atheistic philosophy, which is causing him, he doesn't realize, further sinful reactions, which means after he dies in his horrible existence, he's going to take further, lower existence.
And that makes sense with this verse, because he doesn't know about Krishna or God being unborn, beginningless.
Yeah. So he's got a big brain in his wheelchair, and he knows all about atoms and neutrons and protons, electrons, and every other tron, but doesn't know about Krishna as the unborn beginningless, like that. So, wasted his whole life, knowing all meaningless stuff, because all that other stuff is not very important. There's a very famous ISKCON drama to illustrate a point that one very clever academic, Western academic, was taking the help of a boatman to cross from one side of a river to another. And the academics asking the boatman, do you know about the life cycle of this bug in Africa or something? And the boatman says, no. And he said, you wasted 25% of your life. And then do you know about the planetary system and all the names of the planets and everything like that? And the boatman says, no. The academic says to the boatman, you wasted 50% of your life. And then do you know blah, blah, blah? And he says, no. And then he said, you wasted 75% of your life. And then a storm's coming while that's happening. A storm's coming. And then
Boat people say, can you swim?
and then the boat starts to take
It's
on
rocking.
water. And then it starts to capsize. And then the boatman asks the academic, do you know how to swim? And the academic says no. And then the boatman says to him, you wasted 100% of your life because you're dead. So some knowledge is not important, but some knowledge is very important, like that. So, to know who God is very important knowledge. It's even more important than knowing how to swim, so that can save your body. But the knowing Krishna as God will save your soul, like that. So all these, atheistic people, including scientists, they don't know God, don't accept God. They've wasted 100% of their life, It's very unfortunate. And they're sinful, because of not knowing God and the human form of life you're supposed to. And then if you don't, then you're going to just get further pushed down and down. It's very unfortunate. And that's the purpose of devotees. We try to spread Krishna's glories so that people can know God and then they can get free from their sins like that and then make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Okay, let's start reading the purport. Bhakti-Mala, do you want to read the first paragraph?
As stated in the 7th chapter, 7.3, those who are trying to elevate themselves to the platform of spiritual realization are not ordinary men. They are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men who have no knowledge of spiritual realization. But out of those who are actually trying to understand their spiritual situation, one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually realized person. In that stage only, when one has fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be free completely from all sinful reactions.
Okay, you can stop there. That's good. So, yeah, Bhakti-Mala, Gulshan, you're in this category. Most successful, spiritually realized person. So you can pat yourself on the back out of millions. I'll pat Jayanti on the back.
Manusya.
You can read 7.3. We
Yeah.
can go to that one. That's a very famous verse. Prabhupada quoted this
Is
many
that
times.
the one, Manusya?
Yeah, yeah.
Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
So yeah, it's very, very rare that one amongst thousands that will try to make their life perfect. And what does it mean to try to make your life perfect? It means to get free from suffering, to get free from suffering, get liberated from suffering. And then so 1 out of thousands will try to achieve perfection. And out of thousands of those that are rare persons that are trying to achieve perfection, one of those will reach perfection. And out of those super rare persons that have achieved perfection or being liberated, So even hardly any of those ones that are liberated from the suffering of the material world, hardly one of those out of many of those will actually know Krishna in truth. So to actually know Krishna in truth is very, very rare. Very, very rare. Mm. And we may wonder, how the hell did I get to know Krishna in truth? If it's so difficult.
I don't know him in truth.
Okay.
We think we know.
No, but we do know that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead, what it's saying here. One who can come, back to the verse today, come to the purport that she just read. One who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually wise person. So we have come to that point.
But you have come to that point. It's like we said.
Well, if you haven't,
before,
you better get out of the house then.
it's my house. You get out.
What do you mean,
No.
my house? You see, that's the ego.
Yeah, I
That's
just
the
said it
ego.
is my house.
That's
Yeah.
the
It's not
ego.
my house or your house, it's Krishna's house, remember? He's
That's
the
right, that's
proprietor of everything.
That's the ego. That's it.
No, I'm
He's not
saying then it's like we talked about this a little bit earlier, Jnana and Vignan.
Mm.
So applied knowledge. So you can
Yeah.
know it as knowledge,
Mm.
which is where I am.
Mm.
But applied knowledge means that you're really living it. I guess I'm living it sometimes.
Yeah, this is Prabhupada gives example of the difference between a green mango and a ripe one. Both of them are mango, but we're just a bit green, that's all. We're like a green mango or a green banana. We're at different
So
stages of ripening.
green means you still have a life. Once you become a yellow, time to go.
Yeah,
I think it's hopeful. I think it's hopeful though.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that
Definitely.
even if we don't have complete realized knowledge, that even
Yeah.
if we're trying to understand that, we're still on the
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why I brought that up, that, that we're in the super, 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 super rare category of knowing Krishna, that in truth, that's mentioned in that Manushanam Sastra, so verse 7.3, then I would say it's not really necessarily because of our super duper qualifications, but because we receive some super duper mercy from Prabhupada and his followers, So, Prabhupada is that super rare person that knows Krishna in truth. And he's just so compassionate that he's distributing that knowledge, to so many fallen Kali Yuga souls like ourselves.
I
And
think
we're
it's
just
all in the chain and the parampara is important because of knowledge has been transferred from
yeah.
Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur. He also important because he transferred to Prabhupada. Prabhupada important transferred to us. So all of them 32 was important.
Yeah, yeah. But Prabhupada did something very unique, that because previously they were all working within inside of India. But even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't leave India.
Oh, he was
He
God,
walked all around.
he was a Krishna.
I know.
Yeah.
But you don't have
You
Bhaktivinoda
don't need
Thakur
to.
was only stayed in India, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in India. But Prabhupada went around the whole world to all the Malechas and Yavanas around the whole world. It's amazing, He used to walk over drunks in the Lower East Side in New York in 1965, One crazy American guy ran after Prabhupada, completely intoxicated, trying to, grab Prabhupada and could have killed Prabhupada. So Prabhupada took so many risks and everything to help all us Kali Yuga people. So, he's a very merciful personality. All of them are fully divine beings. But yeah, I'm just pointing out that due to the mercy of these great devotees, then somehow or other we've managed by their mercy to know Krishna. You know, because without their mercy, I don't think we would be, you know, Krishna, knowing Krishna today, isn't it? You know, if Prabhupada hadn't gone to the West, I don't think any of us would know Krishna at all, you know. And so yeah, we're very fortunate to be in this very rare category, as like I mentioned here, most successful spiritually realized person. It's a very
came to the West
mm,
from India.
yeah.
But I think he also, having translated all this literature,
Mm,
actually gave more weight to his teachings.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. So because this verse is mentioning only one that knows that Krishna is the supreme person of Godhead. He's free from all sin. So
the question is, like, whatever the stuff from Prabhupada that Prabhupada's wife just sold it for tea. What was that stuff?
what do you mean? What about it?
Means
What's the point?
Prabhupada says either tea or me, because
Yep.
where is that? Because she sold it to get the tea.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that? Was it Bhagavad Gita, or what was the translation, or what is it? What was that?
That was his only copy of the Bhagavad Gita that he worked on for years. There was only one copy. And
So
that
he
time
did it again then.
that time you weren't downloading anything on a computer, and it wasn't saved on a hard drive.
So
It was
there
just
a
one
translating
physical copy, and then it was gone.
And then
So
he
you
did
can
this one again.
Yeah, had to do it all over again. Had to do it. You can imagine that would have broken his heart. You know, an incredible amount of all that, you know, and there's no other, it's not written down anywhere else. So you have to
It
just
was a
start
Bhagavad
over
Gita.
again.
Okay.
I mean, I remember sometimes I've written an article on the computer or on my phone, and then I've lost it, and I'm just so bummed out. And that was only a few pages. Can you imagine like a manuscript, like
if you don't save it, you might lose it.
yeah, a thousand page manuscript you worked on for years, and it's just your wife and just for such a stupid reason to get a box of biscuits to Dunkin' tea. I mean, if it was for something meaningful, you know, like your son had got hit by a bus and you got to pay for an operation, okay, sure, we can live with that one. But just for getting some biscuits for tea is just pathetic. You know, so that was the end of the line for his grihastha life.
You reckon is Krishna's Leela?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, Krishna's behind everything, the cause of all causes, remember? So, yeah, definitely that was because if Prabhupada had remained happy in family life, once again, he wouldn't have left India. But it was because he wasn't happy in family life, then he took sannyas, and then also he tried to preach Krishna consciousness in India, and he set up what's called the League of Devotees in Jhansi, and that didn't work out either due to Krishna's arrangement. So nothing was working out in India. So Krishna, first of all, pushed him out of family life. Then he, even in the renounced order, he pushed him out of India, and then he pushed him into the West. So that's all Krishna's arrangement, definitely Krishna's arrangement. So yeah, we're getting, you know, moved around like a ping pong ball. And we were in New Zealand, and we got pushed to Australia, and then we were in Australia, and we got pushed back to New Zealand, and then I don't know where we're going to get pushed to next. Pushed down to the hellish planets or the heavenly planets or wherever, you know. So Krishna just takes us wherever.
So you're a puppet.
Yeah, we're all puppets.
There's
a beautiful... no, don't start. Don't start, Kushan.
Bhaktimala, I told you.
So there's a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita saying Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara
Ekla chalo le. Yeah. You just walk alone. Ekla chalo.
Oh, this is something different.
Yeah, I know. There's a song there for the.
But it remind you of some Bollywood song, did it?
Yeah. He says, "Go alone, go."
I go alone. Okay. This one.
Gulshan doesn't believe we have free will. He reckons
Again, Bhaktimala, don't start.
that we're all just puppets, and Yeah. I think this is where Abhay
Yeah,
needs
okay,
to
but
clear it up, because
yeah,
I just
okay.
I
You know, we
couldn't do
can.
it.
Now
That's
that
between you and me,
the
Bhaktimala, for next Ekadashi class. That's our
Okay, next
discussion.
Ekodashi class.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
it's
yeah,
it
we'll,
okay.
needs
So
it needs a whole session.
yeah.
yes.
But the puppet is half the story, and that Krishna means is controlling the puppet, okay? But there's another part of the equation is that he's going to control you according to how you use your free choice, what desires you have. Like, do you want to please your own senses? So then he's going to control you in that way for a life of sense gratification. However, if you have the free choice to, you want to please Krishna's senses, then he's going to use you as a puppet in that way to how to serve his senses. So both of them are together. So you do have free choice. And according to how you use the free choice, he'll pull the strings in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So if like there's that verse 4, I think it's 4:10.
To the extent you surrender to me, I reciprocate. Isn't that the one also?
Oh, Jayanti's getting really fired up today.
Oh,
He's
yes.
on fire today.
She's a
ये
great
यथा
devotee.
माम
4:11.
प्रपद्यन्ते
4:11.
तां तथैव भजाम्यहम्. Is that the one you were
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah. So, according to how you surrender to Krishna, then he's going to reciprocate differently. Definitely he's controlling everyone, but it's not blindly done. It's not like we're completely a robot. It's that we, like I said, one person wants to please his own senses, and then he'll be a puppet of the Maya to just sex, drugs, rock and roll, eat, drink, and be merry. And that he'll be controlled in that way. And the other person wants to please Krishna. So Krishna will make arrangements, that person can fulfill those desires to serve him. And Krishna will make arrangements in that way. So it's not like we're completely helpless and we're just like robots or something like that. No, it's not like that. But according to the choices we make, then he'll make the arrangements. Like there's a saying, right? You might have heard it. Man proposes, God disposes. Man proposes, God disposes. So God disposes means he's pulling the strings, right? But you got to go by the first bit comes as important. Man proposes. So proposes means what you desire. So according to what the soul desires, then he's going to dispose that. Dispose means, make it happen, make it work, arrange it like that. So you can't just talk about that we're puppets without also talking about, what desires you have, what choices you make, and then he's going to, arrange accordingly. Yeah. So, yeah. Was it by chance that, Krishna pulled the strings to break up Prabhupada's family life and then break up his preaching in India and send him to the West? Was that by chance? Why didn't he do it to someone else? No, he did it for Prabhupada in that way because Prabhupada wanted to please his spiritual master by, going to the West. But there was, Prabhupada's spiritual master had ordered him to do that from a young age, to go to the West and preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like that. But there were some obstacles. There were some obstacles for him to carry out that order as guru. The first obstacle was that he was a family man. And the second obstacle was that, he was just attached to being in India. So, Krishna made those arrangements, pulled the strings to make that happen, that he go to the West like that. Does that make sense? Anyone want to say anything about that?
Yeah, like the way I come from India to here, and Was it my choice, or it was written there by Krishna to get married with this girl and I'll have a daughter? It was all written, or it was my efforts?
I mean, there's a saying, another saying, we're the architect of our own destiny.
Then
We're
again,
the
the
architect
destiny,
of our own
yeah, but
destiny.
that's the thing.
So yeah, I mean, you design the house, and then the builder makes it. But I mean, you designed it, so but you didn't
But
make it.
the thing is, I never ever come across to live in, come to Australia and married this girl, and then my daughter will come, because it's all, daughter was supposed to come with this special lady, and this
Hmm.
lady, no way she can come to India looking for 1.4 billion people, who's the Gulshan is. So Gulshan
Hmm.
traveled to Australia and meet that lady and get married and have a daughter. So there was
Hmm.
all Krishna's plan, wasn't my plan. I mean, I don't know. Means because it was
No,
just a
not like that. But the point is, according to our previous desires and our
yeah,
previous activities, there's going to be reactions.
yes,
Action and reaction, right?
yes.
So it could be in previous lives or earlier in this life, like that. You have, certain desires, and Krishna's Paramatma, he's a super soul. And let's look at another one, 1322. I think it's 13 around that.
These are it is exactly all the things I was saying to Gulshan the other day, but he didn't listen to anything I said. I had some really good.
I'm still not listening.
1323. Yeah, 1323.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, who exists as overseer and permitter, and who is known as Super Soul.
Hmm. So that the soul is in the heart of the body, and there's another soul there. That's the super soul. So what is he doing there in the heart? First of all, he's transcendental. He's transcendental. He's not in the material world in our heart to enjoy sex, drugs, rock and roll. He's enjoying transcendentally. He's self-sufficient. He's enjoying within himself, Atmarama, self-satisfied. So yeah, he doesn't need to enjoy like what we need to enjoy, or the sense gratification. So why is he there then? If he's not coming to enjoy this material world, why is he coming? He's there as the overseer. So he's witnessing. Overseer means like witness. So he's watching. What is he watching? He's watching us. He's watching us. What is he watching us for? What is our desires? So according to what we desire, he's observing that. He's seeing what we desire. And then the next part comes permitter. Permitter. So then, okay, he sees, oh, you want to enjoy in this way. Okay, you have that then. If that's your karma, if you have that money in your karmic bank account, in your karmic bank balance, and you have that particular desire, then he may give it to you. And if you don't have sufficient karma, you might not get exactly what you want, but it might be, like if you have $100,000 in your bank, you might get your Mercedes. But if you've only got $10,000 in the bank, you might get a Toyota Corolla. But, both of them get a car, but according to, how much they have in the bank. So the Lord is watching our desires, and then he's, permitting them, according to whether we have enough credit or not, like that. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's karma is so complex. Where it began, where it ends, it's so entangling.
So no,
But
yeah.
definitely our own free choice and our own desires is what started it off and keeps it going. And that's why as soon as you change from self-centered desires for sense gratification to desiring to please Krishna, then you break out of the karma. That's how you break the cycle of karma, where instead of desiring to please yourself, you change that to pleasing Krishna, and then you can break out of the cycle of karma. Otherwise, it's all leading us to further entanglement, further entanglement. Let's read another one, 3.9. Yeah.
Work done as sacrifice. Chapter 3 and
Yeah,
verse
3.9. Yep.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in the material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
Yes, so as long as we're doing it for our enjoyment, we're bound up. We're bound up by the karma. And if you do it for him, then you're free.
You said Krishna is the only enjoyer. Is it?
He's the supreme enjoyer, but we're also the enjoyer. But we enjoy after he enjoys. It's like, do we enjoy prasadam, eating prasadam? Yes, we do, but we enjoy after he eats it. So
But
he's the supreme enjoyer,
then,
and then we enjoy.
When we do sex, who enjoys it?
Huh?
When
When we
do
enjoy,
sex,
yeah, but the point is, who's giving that pleasure? Krishna's giving that pleasure. I mean, because that pleasure is on the genitals, right? On the female and male genitals, the pleasure is there. But who put the pleasure there?
everything is
Krishna put it there. What then? The question is, why did he put it there? To give you an impetus, to reproduce the species, because Krishna wants the species to be reproduced.
Yeah.
But then we want to get the pleasure and not do the service, because the service is that you reproduce the species. So, and in modern society, you want to get that pleasure that Krishna put there, but you don't want to do the service of reproducing. You don't want to produce children. So then that becomes sinful. Getting back to, that we've become sinful like that. That pleasure's put there to push you to reproduce, even though reproducing is going to be difficult to look after those kids, because anyone that has kids knows there's a lot of difficulties in bringing up kids. If there wasn't any pleasure in sex, I guarantee, and Prabhupada mentions it, that no one would look at bring up kids. No one would want to have kids if there was no pleasure in sex. Imagine if it was, there was no pleasure in that activity, then no one would want to have kids, So that's why
I don't know if that's true, because there's so many people having IVF and all types of things these days to try and have children, and adoption and fostering and all these ways. So I think that women are always going to want to have children, because it's biologically within us.
Motherhood.
Well, I mean, I should say then, the men would never want to get involved.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair
They
enough.
have to pay that.
I think that's fair enough. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
So it's the same as the horror movie. It has got some excitement. That's why we're watching. Even as a horror, horror movie, when you watch, there is some excitement is there. That's why we're watching. Otherwise, we wouldn't watch it. Yeah.
Enjoyment is in us, definitely, because we're part of Krishna. I mean, how can it not be? Whatever's in Krishna is in us too, but in small amounts.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we have a tendency to be a controller too. Where does that come from? It comes from Krishna, because he's the supreme controller. Our mistake is if we think I'm the supreme controller, I'm the center of the universe. Everyone has to serve me. I have to enjoy. No, this is a mistake, but we're just a minute controller, a minute enjoyer like that. But we shouldn't get proud, and think I'm the number one, or I'm important. Krishna's not important. And like you said before, Gulshan, about envy, we shouldn't be envious of Krishna or envious of others.
Anyway,
This is not progressive, yeah. So there's no harm in enjoying, but see, the devotee is that person that knows how to really enjoy. Actually, the devotee is the only
Yeah.
real enjoyer.
Devotee is the only one know how to really enjoy in sex. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that. You used to see if you think sex is enjoyment, but that's
It
not
is.
even enjoyment for a devotee. One devotee, Yamunacharya, says every time I think of sex life, because he used to be a king and have lots of sex with all of his princesses, he said now that I've come to Krishna consciousness, every time I think of sex, I spit at the thought.
It just feel like a
I
vomiting.
spit at the thought. Yeah, it's just like insignificant now. Once some like Rupa Goswami is saying this is the real enjoyment he's indicating in his beautiful
So you
poem.
reckon
He says,
more and more you go in the devotional life there, in the progress in there, you're losing the interest of the sex or of eating or
of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So if you're not,
Yeah.
if you are more creating interest in there, it means you are not in the devotional much in there. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, not
Well,
much,
I think if you
so.
go and start living with a woman, you're pretty much putting yourself in danger of thinking about sex a lot more than if you were living with a boy, Gulshan. I think you put, monks aren't supposed to be in the same room as a woman alone, and you're just putting yourself in the fire living with a woman.
You know what? I just want to see if I can survive. I want to control. I've got a copen there. I just tied it up. I'm not gonna float it around there. I just want to see. I will
Oh
manage to.
dear.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh dear. I'm not judging you, but I do think you're playing with fire there.
It's
No,
different.
we always have to.
Look,
there's danger everywhere.
Prabhu
We
lives
have to
as his
be.
wife as well. It's okay. We all living in the relationship, which is perfectly normal. It's a lot of Matajis come to the temple. Doesn't mean that you can just, asking everyone's phone number. No, you have to control yourself. That's a celibacy, not because of you just go to the forest and there's no woman around.
No,
What's the test?
no. There's two extremes. I mean, that's an extreme, and then living with a woman's an extreme as well. Like,
No, if
I'm
you
not
go to
saying that you can't be around women, but I think you put yourself. You've got to do what's easier for you.
I just want to see I
what's
can control or
easier.
not. That's the thing. If you go to the
I
forest,
mean, we have to be careful not to think we're more stronger than Maya, because Maya is very powerful.
Of course it is powerful.
Even great sages like Vishvamitra Muni, he got infatuated by the beautiful Apsara Menaka, and also Sholbari Muni, he got even agitated by seeing sex fish have sex underwater. And even Lord Shiva, who's famous for not being agitated by sex, then he got agitated by Mohini Murti, by the Krishna incarnated in a female form as Mohini Murti. He became agitated and released semina like that. So, and even Lord Brahma, our the greatest.
Are you listening, Bhaktimala? Then who am I? Nothing compared to that.
No, so what the moral of the story is that even great personalities have trouble with Maya. Then Johnny, can you come down quickly and get that? Come on.
I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not judging you, Gulshan. I just think we all have to be we have to be careful.
I know, Bhaktimala, you don't like me. I know that. The day I know you don't like me. Nothing much I can do. I'm black. It's okay.
It's not that I don't like you.
I know you don't like
me. I worry about you. I worry about you.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yes.
But yeah,
because I know how hard you've been working for so many years to be celibate, and we've all got.
And
we've all got things,
and I sit down with you left there when the Ramaswamy came there after we having the feast around that 8 o'clock, 8:30 maybe, and then I sit down on the Ramaswamy feet and he put the hand on my head, and he said,
"Oh, that's nice.
So how's things going and things like that. I was just telling Jen, oh, you say you've been away and you're in the van. I said, are we talking like that? So he's a great devotee of Prabhupada, and he put the hand on my head. Well, that's it. I'm happy to die. I'm done. I'm done.
That's nice.
Yeah. I
That's
sit on
nice
the
he did
ground, you're
that.
sitting on the chair, and then he was asking and put the hand on my head, and I said, wow, how good is that? How lucky I am.
Yeah, that's lucky.
So
You
two things I
disappear.
would say is that one thing is the only safe position is if we're getting so much taste from Krishna consciousness, then we won't get attracted from
Then
Maya.
yeah.
So we really need to be working on that all the time, to get into the higher taste. If we have the higher taste, then we won't have the lower taste. And on the other side, we always need to be very humble and realize that Maya is so powerful compared to us, we're nothing. And we always should pray to Krishna for protection from Maya. Because not only if there's women around or men around or whatever, the opposite sex, that's the only danger. There's always danger in the material world.
There's the money.
Even like I tell you what, we got a lady staying with us. She's a walker, and she was telling us a horrible thing that happened to her. The day before she started her walk, which is from the top to the bottom of New Zealand, she was at Cape Reinga, and she just was the day before she started. She was in her tent with all her clothing and food, and that was in the tent. At 5 o'clock in the morning, it's all dark, and something crashes into her tent and starts to rip open her tent with her inside it, asleep.
Oh my God.
So she gets woken up by this thing, something shaking the tent, and the tent just ripped open, and something dragged her bag out of the tent. She's screaming her head off. What it was a wild pig. A wild pig obviously smelt the food and just ripped into her tent and then grabbed the bag, dragged it. She was screaming. The guy that was also in a tent next to her also got woken up by her screaming and the pig, and then said, just don't worry, it's just a pig. Got you. But that was just the
Very terrifying.
not even the beginning of her journey. That was even before her journey began, So I mean, there's always crazy things that can happen in the material world. So we should always pray to Krishna.
Yes.
To
I pray to
protect us.
Jagannath. I say to Jagannath, please, Jagannath, no woman. Anything I can possible, no woman. That's it. Please, Jagannath. And Jagannath is very dear to me.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think, okay, now I've got to move the car.
Yes.
You can
Okay.
excuse me. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah. Yeah, you too. I'll see you next week.
Okay, good to see you. What's happening, Jayanti?